What makes an action truly, fundamentally wrong? Is it just, like, a personal mistake? Or can some actions be so bad, so destructive, they could unravel not just one person's life, but an entire society? Well, that's exactly what we're going to dive into, what different traditions see as the absolute worst of the worst sins. Yeah, that's the big question for today. What actions are so bad, so destructive, that they can literally tear everything apart? So, in the Islamic tradition, there's actually a specific word for this, al-mubiqat. And get this, the root of the word in Arabic means to perish or to be ruined. So right away, you know we're not talking about minor slip-ups. The name itself tells you these are actions that lead to total and complete ruin, not just for you, but for the whole community. All right, so what exactly is on this list of destructive sins? Let's dig into a foundational text that lays them out super clearly. Well, a specific teaching from the Prophet Muhammad points to just seven of these actions. Think of it like a clear framework that spells out what's considered most damaging to a person's faith and, just as importantly, to society. And look, this isn't just some philosophical suggestion. It's grounded in a direct teaching, a hadith, which is a recorded saying of the Prophet. He explicitly warns his followers, avoid the seven destructive sins. I mean, that's a direct command, and that's what gives this list so much weight. Okay, so here's the list itself. At the very top, number one is shirk. That's associating partners with God, which is seen as the single gravest sin. Then you've got sorcery and taking a life unjustly. After those, the list kind of pivots to social crimes. Things like consuming usury or riba, which is basically exploiting people financially. Then there's taking an orphan's property, preying on the most vulnerable. Fleeing the battlefield, which is a massive betrayal of your entire community. And finally, slandering chaste women, an act that just destroys reputations and shatters social trust. So you see the pattern here, right? This isn't just a list of personal no-nos. These actions are called destructive because they're seen as corrosive. It's like they're chipping away at the very foundations of a healthy society. They mess with faith, they break up families, and they just dissolve the bonds that hold a community together. Okay, a list of rules is one way to look at this. But what about a story? Let's switch gears for a second and jump over to the Judeo-Christian tradition, because there's this incredible story that brings these exact same themes to life in a really dramatic way. We're talking about the Book of Judith. And wow, is it a story? It's this gripping tale all about courage, faith, and this epic clash between raw earthly power and something bigger. So the story kicks off with this absolutely terrifying threat. There's this Assyrian general, Holofernes, and he's leading this massive, seemingly unstoppable army. He's just steamrolling every nation in his path, totally fueled by this insane pride and a demand for everyone to bow down to his king, who, by the way, wants to be worshipped as a god. So you can see the conflict brewing, right? On one side, you've got Holofernes. He's all about earthly power, pride, destruction, you name it. And on the other side, you have Judith. She represents piety, courage, and a deep trust in a higher law. I mean, it is the ultimate showdown, pure might versus pure faith. So Holofernes' army surrounds her hometown, and honestly, all hope seems lost. It's bleak. But then, one woman, a devout widow named Judith, steps up. Now, she doesn't have an army, she doesn't have weapons. Her entire plan is built on two things, her incredible courage and this unwavering faith that a higher power will save her people. And her plan? It is audacious. She walks right into the enemy camp, alone. She uses her wits and her presence to get the arrogant general Holofernes to trust her. And then, when the moment is right, when he's drunk and vulnerable in his tent, she grabs his own sword and beheads him. And just like that, with their terrifying leader gone, the Assyrian army completely panics. It just dissolves into chaos. This supposedly unstoppable force completely collapses. And a whole nation is saved, not by an army, but by the faith and sheer guts of one woman. Okay, so we've got a list of rules from one tradition and this epic story from another. On the surface, they seem totally different, right? But what's the connection? Where's the common ground here? This is where it gets really interesting. Both of them, in their own way, are all about protecting the vulnerable. The list explicitly mentions orphans, the stories about protecting an entire nation. Both of them are a huge warning against the destructive power of pride. I mean, that was Holofernes' fatal flaw. At the end of the day, they're both about protecting the integrity of a community from the things that would tear it apart. It's almost like they're both giving us an ancient blueprint for social survival, pointing out the things that don't just offend a higher power, but completely shatter the trust that holds us all together. But all this brings up a really critical question, doesn't it? When someone crosses these lines, when they commit one of these truly destructive acts, is that it? Is there any way back? Is redemption even possible? Well, the Islamic tradition has a really powerful and structured answer for this. It's a concept called Toba, which means repentance. And this isn't just about feeling sorry. It's a real, conscious, sincere decision to turn back to God. And it's a path that's seen as being open to absolutely everyone, no matter what they've done. But it's not a free pass. This path has some very specific conditions. First, you have to feel deep, genuine regret. Second, you have to stop doing the sin immediately. Third, you make a solid commitment to never, ever go back to it. And this last one is so important. If your sin harmed another person, if you stole from them or slandered them, you have to do everything in your power to restore their rights. You have to make it right. It's a real framework for genuine accountability. So whether it's through a story about being saved or a step-by-step guide to repentance, what we're really seeing is a shared idea. Yeah, some actions have absolutely devastating consequences, but just as important in these traditions is the idea that there's always a path back. There's always a way to restore what was broken and to start over. And that kind of leaves us with one final thought to chew on. In our modern world, where everything can feel so complicated and morally gray, what can we take away from these ancient, really clear-cut ideas about pride, about justice, and about protecting the vulnerable? How did they challenge us right now to think about our own actions and the ripples they create in the world today?